Welcome to all of you. I'm Doug Clark, Director of the Center for Near Eastern Archaeology here at La Sierra University. I first want to welcome our new president, Dr. Christon Arthur, who is going to welcome you too. So please.
Well, thank you very much. And it's my honor to welcome you here to this special event this weekend. And I know for many of you, this is a return visit to campus. And if you're returning to campus, I hope you didn't forget that this is home. My welcome to you is relatively brief because it takes only 2 words. Welcome home. And for those of you, if by chance you are here for the first time, which I doubt, but just in case there's someone who is here for the first time, we have a tradition here at La Sierra University. There is no one-time visit. So if you're here for the first time, you've got to come again and again and again, because to you too, this has to be home. You know, we like to think of La Sierra University as this grand community, a community that is large enough that made room for me, and large enough there's room for you as well. So please be welcomed and feel at home. You know, this weekend, Petra, Ancient World of Wonder. And we're talking about our discoveries as part of this archaeological weekend. You know, at La Sierra University, we still embrace the enduring questions, such as those that I ask myself on an ongoing basis. Who am I? Who am I? What is my place in the world? How am I connected to other civilizations? How am I connected to prior civilizations? What is our common human history? You know, sometimes we emphasize our diversity, which is important, but I hope we pause long enough to emphasize our commonness and our common human ancestry, our common human history. So this weekend, this evening, and tomorrow, and at the reception afterwards this evening, let us ponder the discoveries that we've had and to see how those discoveries have, in a scientific way, show us how we are all connected as humans. We are part of the fabric of the human family. And may this weekend make this point crystal clear. So to all of us, welcome to our conference. And in case you have forgotten, let me remind you again, welcome home.
Thank you, President Arthur. In Jordan, we give the first name, so it would be President Christon. But either way, thank you. Thank you very much. I think we probably will want to approach the president about coming on an excavation too. So, are you prepared? Okay, good. You have witnesses to that, you know. So. Another welcome. Thank you all for joining us in here on live stream and on Zoom. We welcome all of you. I do have a couple of things I want to say before turning the time over to Larry Geraty, who is the one who presides for this afternoon. One thing is that we remember this weekend, you can see on your program that we've dedicated this weekend to Fred Cornforth, who is a longtime friend, a major donor. We just installed a plaque at the center in his honor, so when you come for something this evening or tomorrow, please look for that plaque, Fred Cornforth, that we've given to him. I also want to say something that I said last year, because our home, Dr. Arthur talked about home here. We have many homes. For many of us, home is in the Middle East, or at least our second one is. And so I'm going to share something that I did last year, word for word. We want to take a moment to express solidarity with innocent people around the world who have suffered or are suffering indescribable pain and loss, especially those in the region of the world of particular interest to us at the Center of Near Eastern Archaeology. We hope and pray and press for solutions that are speedy and sustainable. Some housekeeping rules. The program, the printed program, is available to everybody here in person, and you can follow along. There will be a couple of adjustments, and Dr. Geraty will walk us through those as he makes introductions throughout the afternoon. But there will be a couple of variations. But for those of you online, you can go to, if you're not already there, to lasierra.edu, Discovery Weekend, /Discovery Weekend, or /archaeology, and you can find the program. You can look for the program under Discovery Weekend. For those on Zoom, the sort of normal guidelines, protocols, okay? Keep your audio muted. Keep your video off. We'd love to see you, but not in this way, okay? Thank you very much. Use the chat room, the chat box, for keeping up to date. Dawn Acevedo is the one who monitors chat. She can even put some links in there for you, but also use the chat box for questions, and then they will be relayed to the rest of us. Please note all of the events of Archaeology Discovery Weekend in your program, those here in the auditorium, those in the atrium right adjacent to us, because that's where the reception this evening will be held. It's not a long walk. It's not far to get to the reception, so be sure you're noting that. And then CNEA, which is just a short walk. The center is just a short walk to the south. A quick note about one thing that's happening tomorrow. It won't be happening this evening, but tomorrow evening at the center is a book sale. We have had a number of libraries donated to us, and with the duplicates, we have students who love these books, and they've been through many of them, but we have hundreds probably, that are for sale, and so cash only. There are some that are free, some that are $1, some that are $5, some that are $10. Okay, it's easy, right? So in any case, cash only. That'll be tomorrow evening. I'm going to let Larry Geraty talk about the sorts of differences in our program that come about because primarily of a remote presentation as our first one rather than in person. So Dr. Geraty, you are presiding. Thank you.
So let me add my welcome to the ones that you've already received. Now to the opening lecture at this weekend's conference, Archaeological Work and Tourism, Priority and Comprehensivity, the Conservation of Jordan. And there's no one better to present this subject than Dr. Fadi Bala awi, the Director General of the Department of Antiquities of Jordan, the government department that hosts all archaeological projects in this hospitable country of Jordan. In his role, he directs all matters related to archaeology and built heritage in Jordan, including management of more than 1,000 staff and an annual budget of about $15 million. He received his PhD in archaeology at the Institute of Archaeology at University College in London, where his thesis title was, quote, Salt Damage at Petra, Jordan, a study of the effects of wind on salt distribution and crystallization. So you see that right from the beginning, he became a specialist in Petra, the topic of our conference this weekend. He has gone on to publish extensively. Among his 35 scholarly articles, there are at least 6 that deal specifically with Petra. Currently, his many and varied responsibilities, including being a member of the advisory board for the World Heritage Site of Petra. So it's a great honor for us to have Dr. Bala awi present the first paper today in our conference on Petra, Ancient World of Wonder. He was here, planning to be here in person, but you know how things change in the Middle East these days, and so we're going to see him online. Fortunately, if everything works, we can listen to him now.
Good morning, everyone. It's great to talk to you today. I wish I can be with you in person, but unfortunately, I could not make it for many reasons and mainly for a work reason. But I will try in this presentation to present you a very clear presentation about what we are doing in Jordan. I am Fadi Bala awi, the Secretary General of the Ministry of Tourism and Antiquities of Jordan, and at the same time, the Acting General Director of the Department of Antiquities. Today, I will try to take you in a journey about what we are doing in the Department of Antiquities and in the Ministry of Tourism, and how is the general strategy of dealing with this very important and very vital sector in Jordan. As you can see that my title is really linked between tourism and archaeology. And the reason why I'm linking that, not only because my now position is having both at the same time, but because these two sectors are very linked to each other in Jordan and everywhere in the world. But to understand this link is really important, and to see a very clear strategy in dealing with the archaeological site and how we are protecting them and how we are interpreting them, and at the same time how we are using them for the benefit of the world, for tourism reasons and for local development reasons, is really important. What I'm going to do today, all of you are very familiar of the number of archaeological sites of Jordan, but maybe this number may be new to some of you. Now we, as you know, we have more than 100,000 discovered sites in Jordan, but the registered sites in our mega database now is over 16,000 archaeological sites, and we are so happy now to have 7 World Heritage Sites, because we now have Jmal as the 7th crown added to our World Heritage list. And if we look at our 16,000 archaeological sites, we can see them that they are divided and they are varied. And there are different types of archaeological sites, from a small one to a huge one, to a very important religious site, to a very important cultural site. But all of all, it's really a diverse type of archaeology. And as you all know, Jordan is one of the few countries that civilization is continued all over the history of our human lives. We will start telling you about some of our main projects that will achieve both the sustainability and the protection of cultural heritage, and at the same time enhancing the tourism business in Jordan. I will start with the development of archaeological museum project. This is one of our very promising project. We started with a very careful studying work packages for a number of our archaeological museum, because we think that our archaeological artifacts and our stories and our narrative really deserve a huge investment in the museum environment and in the museum display way. And so we selected a number of our archaeological sites that we're going to work on them. We started with one of the main archaeological sites, which is the Jordanian Archaeological Museum in the Amman Citadel. So we are not only trying to enhance the outside landscaping or the display, but also we are really carefully aimed from this study to have a very clear narrative of the archaeological remains and the archaeological artifacts and how they are linked to our archaeological sites. And as you can see from the images, this design is very, very creative, and at the same time is very authentic. And each part of our design will be really talking about either the history of the archaeology or the history of the area, even the building. When we are thinking of the architectural elements, we are really linking this to Amman and the story of Amman. Here also we have two small areas in the Hashemite court near the Roman theater, and we thought that we can create a new tourism destination by having two museums, but they are going to be very small museums, each of them less than 50 square meters, but they're going to be, one of them will be replicas talking about the god and the goddess and the great Amman statues, and the other one will tell the story of Amman through images and photographs. And these will also be a very added material or an added product to our tourism activities in Jordan, because they're going to be a day and night museum, because the display can be seen from outside, which is a unique and it's a new attraction point. And we have done that because we noticed that that area is usually busy at night more than during the day. So you can see almost 60% of the display during night, and that will maybe attract you to come during the day to see the rest of the display. If we go to the south, we are really working in a very important archaeological museum in Aqaba, and this museum really will be called the Tunnel Through Time. So we will have a very unique display, using the technology and using the really a very rare artifacts from Aqaba and the nearby regions, and also we will try to make really a very important link between the archaeological museum in Aqaba and the archaeological site and historical site in the city, and that will maybe a very important link between the museums and the real sites. Also, Qais is one of our unique museums in the north. As you know, Qais is very important, and we thought here to create something really maybe very special about Qais Museum, because we thought about what is the story of Qais site. We found that the water and the tunnels of the water, and also the inscriptions, and at the same time Taiki as an iconic monument of iconic statues of the Qais. We thought to bring all these together. So just to tell you that the creativity will take you that from you, if you are going from one age to another, you will go through a water tunnel, and that's really to link the museum, to educate the people, and also to make sure that there is also an entertainment part within the museum environment. Here, another example of our really creative studies for our development of our museum. Here we are talking about Jerash Archaeological Museum. As most of you know how much important the Jerash as an archaeological site, the only complete Roman city outside Roma, but really it deserves a very unique museum, not only in architectural features, which is really here all stone or walls really is linked with a very clear story, and also a very important message from the site itself. But also within the museum there will be a very interesting story, which is the earth, the fire, and the water, and we were not going to give you all the details because we would like you to see it in person and to interact with it more and more. This is not a study. The previous project was a study project that we not start implementing them, but here is a project now we can see it has been achieved. The Tafila Museum. Tafila Museum, I'm very proud of this project in Jordan, not because it is really finished, but because it has been done by a Jordanian team and has been really achieved in a very high standard. It's very small, a museum, 200 square meter, but at the same time, it's really unique and with high international standards of a museum. And I invite you all, when you come to Jordan, to enjoy this really wonderful museum about Tafila and its archaeological sites. We will now leave the museums and we go to other projects. Some of you, they are aware of it, but some of you, maybe it's new for them. All of you maybe know the in Wajis storage area and how it looked like in the past. But now I can tell you now, we finished stage 1 of the biggest conservation center and storage center in the area. In Wajis now, stage 1 has been finished. The dream now is come true, not only because it's really very important. We have a huge number of archaeological artifacts and they were not displayed in the right environmental condition. Now we can claim now we have the right place to store our archaeological artifact. Not only that, but we create also a public interactive space in that area where we can have temporary exhibition from time to time. At the same time, we have created a great library which we can really have also a great interaction between the artifacts and the people, and also we are focusing in children and how we can educate them in very interactive way in this place. And also we keep the archaeological site around in Wajis, so that was a huge challenge, how we can have this huge building, but at the same time to protect the authenticity of the site and to try to minimize the effect of the new installation or new construction of the building. Also, which is something also I'm extremely proud of it, which is Jarash Center for Restoration and Preservation. This center was also a dream. We know it's ready from for a number of years, but it was not operated for many reasons. But now I can tell you now, we have the center operating in a very high level, but also we are very proud, thanks to the help from many of our friends, and here is Ajax and the Italian help in this center. We not only have a great center for conservation and restoration, but also we have 16 trainers, Jordanian trainers, that they are ready to train many people from Jordan and from the area around, because the aim of the center not only to provide help to Jordan, but also to the region in this important subject in conservation and restoration of archaeological sites. Here something also, I'm very proud of all of my projects, but of our project in the department, but also these are really iconic projects that they really can be seen as a model example for our future project. Here what we call it the South Gate project in the Amman Citadel. The South Gate project is really important because it's a new project to link between the two most important attractions in Amman, which is the Roman theater, or what we call it Amman Roman Theater, and also and Amman Citadel. Here, if you can see, not only the importance is creating the link between these two attractions, but the huge amount of work that has been done in the restoration of the historical houses and also in protecting the archaeological site, and also creating a great new interaction between the local people and the two sites, because the tourist will have the journey will start in any of these sites, and it goes through and interacting with the locals, and then it will go directly to the other site. Also, one of our important projects this year was the restoration and rehabilitation of Falah al-Hamad historical house in the Salt area. Despite that the historical house is not part of our mandate right now in the Department of Antiquities, but we tried to do something here very important to the people of Salt. You know, Salt has been listed as a World Heritage Site, and we have more than 330 historical houses within the Salt, within the nomination file. So we tried not only to restore the physical building, but also we trained over 40 important persons from the local community, and we engaged them in the restoration and conservation project. And now, at the end of the project, we have a very nice restored historical house, but more importantly, we have 40 very well-trained local community in different type of work in the historical houses, from actual conservation work to architectural work, and also in archaeological other aspects. So really it's important that this project brings a local community engagement as well as a restoration project. Here also we are extremely proud of this important project in an Aqaba area, which is the completion of the restoration project of the Aqaba Castle. This was a huge task. It wasn't easy because here, as you can understand, most of you understand this, if you have a site has not been restored, it's much easier to work on it when a site has been restored in incorrect way. Here we have a lot of intervention to the site that has damaged the authenticity of the site and was not 100% correct. And so here to remove the added material, to remove the unsuitable material, and also to restore it in the traditional way was a huge task, but finally we are extremely proud of the product, not only because it has been bring the original structure of the site, but also now it is really an important interacting site for the local community and for the visitor in Aqaba. Here also we will mention a few examples of different projects that we are working in, but we are not gonna stop in these projects because really there are many. We are last year, or we have 64 projects we have finished in different archaeological sites. This year over 61 projects has been finished. Some of them just really sustainability and durability of the site and making sure that the site is really working. And in Haspani area, for example, here we try to really develop the site and make sure that we have the minimum requirement of the visitor journey within the site. And also here is very important that we just finishing a restoration project in the Murasas area with the Stylite Tower here, and we are trying to make sure to implement this plan as soon as we can, because as you know, it's one of the unique features in the world, and it's the only maybe standing tower in the area from this type of archaeological remains. Here also, just to give you a small really indication that we are working across the board. We are trying to cover most of our important archaeological sites. Sometimes our intervention is small, some our time just is really to document and to really, but what we are trying to do in our work in the Department of Antiquities and the Ministry of Tourism, at least to have a clear strategy in our really taking care of our archaeological site and putting a priority list where we have to act today, where we can act tomorrow, but at least we have really a clear strategy of what we are doing, and we are not ignoring any sites as much as we can in our working plan. Here also very important that some of our work has really resulted in a very important really finding, and we have really now a huge amount of good really documentation of our archaeological facts and our archaeological objects. Here also it's really important that documentation, and which is really the scientific approach, we start with a clear documentation, we update what we have, and we try to really build a clear conservation plan. Maybe we'll not be able to implement it in the same year that we are doing the documentation, but what we do, that we make sure that at least the plan is there when we have. And here, excuse me to tell you something very important. Most of the time people, they think that we don't implement our archaeological projects because of the funding, and I will tell you, to be honest, funding, it's an issue, but it's not the main issue of not implementing of our archaeological object. But what is really sometimes stopping us, not having the enough qualified staff, has expertise and hands-on expertise to implement our work, which is really, this is also, we can tell you that we now try to do something, what we call it before and after. We try to really let even the local community and the expertise and the scholars to understand that the work is really having a great impact, and not only for a tourism reason, but also for protecting the cultural heritage. All of our documentation has been done with the highest really technology, and we are trying to really impose our work in future planning. We will continue showing to you a number of our projects just to show you the amount of work that has been achieved. Really, I'm really glad that we can really present that the work is going all over the country. I cannot say that we finished the 16 archaeological site, but when I said that we finished the 70 project, around 70 projects, this is a great achievement. Some of these projects are detailed, but really I hope that when you come to Jordan, we can really show you a lot of these examples, because most of them are very successful stories, and it's end up not only protecting the site, but also at the same time in having a very important knowledge for the local people and for our employees. And it's really, really important things that we can really focus on. For example, here, let me stop here in one of our important sites, which is Rasas. In Rasas, there's a lot of work that has been done. First of all, there was a lot of added material to the site that really have changed the authenticity of the site. We removed these material, and also we have restored a lot of our mosaic floors. Most importantly, if you look at your right hand of the slideshow, we can see that there is a new panels has been implemented in Rasas. These panels, not only they have a great information, but also they have a reconstruction of how we think the site look like. And at the same time, it has a QR code that takes you to the Department of Antiquities library, and so you can learn more about the site. And more importantly, some of these interpretation panels are in Braille language. So we are trying to really make the experience and the inclusion of all the different type of people in our site, and we try to have the maximum and most important and pleasant journey for our visitors and for our really people in Jordan. Here also more detailed work of what we are doing in Rasas. I don't have the time to show you. I'm very passionate to talk more and more about this site, but really I will really take care of my time frame, and I will try to move on to more important really project that I may really be happy. Here also in Al-Fhais, Khirbat al-Deir, we have done a great conservation work. In Al-Halabat Palace also we have done a very important restoration project. Also here also in Shabib, in Azarqa Shabib Palace, also a huge amount of work from restoration and interpretation and landscaping sometime, because this is a very important site for the local people in the Zarqa area. We continue in Al-Karak, for example, here that Ras temple, we really, it was a small project but a huge challenge. Here we will have the temple, and we have a small part of it, but it was collapsing. In order to really take down the wall of the temple was very challenging, the documentation and the numbering of each stone. And now this year we are putting it back, and we are really taking care of each single important factor of these conservation projects. Ayla project is a very important project in Aqaba, where we really now doing a huge Ayla. As you know, it's the only complete, or the first complete city out of the Hijaz area, and we are doing a huge conservation and restoration project, and this will be an added touristic destination in Jordan. As you can see, we really have shown you some example of what we have done in Jordan through the Department of Antiquities, and the work is continued today and tomorrow and for the future. What I'm going to say in my last few minutes, that really the Department of Antiquity, after having its strategy, which has been really approved last year, we really now have a clear vision of what we are doing now at the Department of Antiquities, and we have an action plan based on our strategy, and this action plan has been divided and really has been explained in a very important document, which is called project-based plan, and the work is continued according to a very clear system in our work. The relation between tourism and antiquity is very important. My message to you that we are in Jordan, we are trying to keep our heritage as much as we can, and we would like the world to enjoy the heritage of Jordan. It's a Jordanian heritage, but we share it with the world. Thank you so much.